Listen, you know what time it is. It's time for another episode of your favorite new podcast entitled We Hate You, Internet! Back. This week, I don't know. For some reason, I'm feeling good this week. I don't know. It's every once in a while I just get this extra little gear I kick
Something
into.
in the air.
Yeah, man. Just become a Google box. I don't know why. It's something I can't explain, but I just roll with it. You know what I mean? This is We Hate Your Internet. It is a podcast that is fun yet informative. You know, and it brings awareness to the various issues and negative effects that the internet has on our lives, as well as we celebrate the beautiful simplicity of our humanity. I am Wilford Hamilton. I am your host, and sitting next to me is the oh so pleasant and authentic Miss
Clara Aguirre.
Clara Aguirre.
See, you're getting better every time you say it.
Don't sell me short out here in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do me like that.
Yeah, man. I've been, you know what I'm saying? I've been out here with the people for quite some time.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
you're
Everywhere
right,
I go,
you're right,
people,
you're right.
everywhere I go,
You're
people
blessed
ask
in.
me, they be like, "Are you Dominican?" And I'd be like, "See." You know what I mean? I'm working on my Spanish, you know what I'm saying? Just in case I got to make a run for it. I can go down there with my second people, you know what I'm saying? They going to see, but they already ready. They got me a house ready, a little room. I'm ready. They said, whenever you ready, Theo. I said, hijo. And I'm like, I'm with it. And I was like, see.
Waiting for this moment.
Yeah. Anyway, oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Today, I told you I was silly today. Today we talking about talent. Now, more specifically, just how we view talent, via the internet. And so, jumping into the topic, I believe that every individual is born with an innate ability, right? A gift, something that they're just naturally gifted at. And I believe that the purpose for that is for the betterment of society as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Everybody can bring, and we all fit together like pieces of a puzzle. And like I said, I think that it all of us bring our different abilities, and they fit together to make our society stronger. And so, with that fact, it's we are born into these little pockets on the earth, like we always talk about. We're born into a specific place at a specific time, in a specific culture, and each of those cultures or those little bubbles, as it's designed to function, has people in it that can bring certain skills and abilities to the table to make that society move forward, to make it functional, right? And each of those people have an opportunity to feel special or to be special in whatever way that they bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you bring how the internet has opened us up so much and connected us, which is in a lot of ways is a good way, because like we always talked about, I don't think I mentioned last week, maybe for those that are new, we don't actually hate the internet.
Mm-hmm. I think we have to remind.
Yeah, man, because people like, oh my goodness, like, hate is such a wonderful, it's such a terrible word. Yeah, but I mean, it's like I said, it's more satirical. Yeah, indeed, satirical than anything. It's we don't hate the internet because the internet really benefits us in a lot of different ways, right? I just think that it's really important that we are aware. Mm-hmm. Like we said, we talked at the top of the program. We are aware that it can have some negative effects on us. You know what I mean? And we want to try to minimize those effects as much as possible. That's why we have these conversations. It's not we want to take all the good that we can and just minimize the bad, right? And so when we talk about talent, and you think about how much talent that we're exposed to now, through social media, like everything's recorded.
At its best, let me add.
You ain't lying.
You know?
Way. Say take 37.
Mm-hmm.
but with all the filters and everything, the way that we view talent, right? We instead of us looking at talent as something to be appreciated, oftentimes I think we look at it as competition. You know what I mean? We look at it, and then because we look at it from that perspective, sometimes we can be critical, almost become a hater. You know what I'm saying? As they say in the streets. But like, just because, and it causes people it can cause people to feel inferior. You know what I mean? Because they are comparing themselves so much to the talent that they're exposed to, right? Competition competition can be a good thing. Like, I don't want people to misunderstand. Like, I'm not tripping about. I don't think everybody should have participation awards and all that kind of stuff. I'm not one of those cats. You know what I'm saying? But like, I do believe that too much competition can be unhealthy. I do believe that there is a space. People should have a space where they can feel special. You know what I mean? You talk about like child development, right? You have a child, and they figure out that they can do a somersault. You know what I mean? They put their head on the ground and throw their legs over, and then they come out on the other side and they're like, oh, snap. Like, I just invented something great. You know what I mean? And then they come to their parent, they're like, man, they can't speak English, maybe. Or they can't speak yet, maybe. But they just walk in the room and be like, man, I'm going to bust this thing out, and these people, they ain't going to know what to think. You know what I mean? They put their head on the ground, flip over, and look at you like, man, did you see what I just did? And their parents like, oh, wow, you did so great. You know what I mean? And in that moment, they have genuine, like, joy. You know what I mean? Because they feel special. Like,
And pride, yeah.
Yes. And that is a necessary part of having healthy self-esteem, right? To find your niche in the world that you're good at. You know what I mean? But when you are, but that same skill, whatever it may be, that same skill is duplicated throughout the world, thousands, if not tens of thousands of times. Because once again, like we said, human beings are born into a specific place, at a specific time around, in a specific society. You know what I mean? And so you may have a person that's really gifted with their hands. You have a person that can cook really well. They just have an innate ability how to put flavors. They taste stuff and like, this will go good with this, and da 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 da. You know what I mean? And they become like great in culinary arts, right? But hey, man, the next village over need to eat too. You know what I mean? So they may have somebody born in their village or town or whatever that can cook also. Now they may cook different things. They may have a different perspective on taste and things like this, but like both of them have a similar skill, and they both are needed, and they both have the space to feel like important, right? But when you start to open up the doors and let everybody see all the other people that can cook, then it starts to, the more and more they're exposed to, the more and more it starts to minimize or diminish how special they feel. And then that starts to creep in and have an effect with their self-esteem. You know what I mean? I done talked a whole lot. Forgive me, Claire. I was feeling good. Forgive me. Go ahead, Gary. Y'all know you have something.
I think you were, I was listening in. I was really tuned into all that you're saying, because I agree. I think that when there's too much competition, to the first point that you made, it can make your like efforts seem futile. You know, it's like, even if I do try, I'm not going to be nearly as good as A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know, so
all the way down to Y.
Yeah, why even try?
I'm Z.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I think that like when you're a person who, you're really proud of something, and you're even if it's a hobby or it's something that you do, like your job, having that enormous pool, it can sometimes make you feel minuscule, because you're right, you do compare yourself to people who have maybe a lot more resources than you do, have a lot more privilege than you do, or whatever it may be. They could be take 37, like you said. And what happens is, as a person, you do compare yourself. You're right. You, instead of appreciating it, it's more of like, you start looking at self, because that's just how humans work. And I think that that's also why, like, people will experience like this type of scrolling, zombie scrolling, you know, they'll just scroll, scroll, scroll and keep looking and kind of get into these habits of just watching instead of doing. And they get disconnected with their own creativity or with their own passions because they just would rather experience it through the phone and watching someone else do it. And I think there is a certain disconnect. Like people start feeling a little more self-conscious instead of like, okay, like this person may do it differently or may do it better, but I still know that I, as a person, I'm also good. I can also do this.
Yeah, man. Like you. I remember. Like I can sing. Yeah, a little bit.
Download the track, the album. Go ahead and plug it in.
This is not a place for shameful self-promotion.
But it is.
But it is.
But it is.
But say he paid the money, so he do what he want to do with the time. No, I sing. You know what I mean? And you know, it's funny because growing up, like I was in talent shows and stuff like that. I did pretty well. You know what I mean? I was in choir. I did pretty well. You know, in choir and stuff like that. And I've always had positive reinforcement because of my talent.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then, you know, like I said, I grew up in a time before the internet. You know, right before the internet really started kicking off. I was kind of, you know, in my adolescent ages or whatever. So I still remember how things were before the internet, you know. But then once social media really started kicking, then it opens this door and you start realizing, like, that your talent, like, it slowly became not as special. You know what I mean? You start to see other people that can sing, and then you start comparing, like, man, like, they can do, man, they hit that note, I can hit that note. You know what I mean? Like, you start to be like, man, like, that run they did, I can't do that run. Then you see how many likes they got and how many followers they have, and you start thinking, like, man, like, and I try to put out a video and I don't get the same. And then you're like, well, then I'm not as good. Then you stop, you may stop trying altogether. You may stop using your talent altogether.
Yeah.
Because you feel so intimidated, you know, by the amount of competition that you have out there, which is really not, they're not competing with, they're just
doing what they love.
Exactly.
They're pursuing what they love.
But then it quickly goes from just sharing talent to something else. Like now it's business. Now it's they're making money. Now it's and all those things. And I'm not knocking none of them, man. Use your talent, go for it. I'm not knocking any of those things. But we're just talking about the other side of it.
Yeah, like the experience in itself.
Exactly. And like it you go through the process where the rare becomes common. You know what I mean? Like where you would hear somebody sing in your small town and be like, that girl had the voice of an angel. You know what I mean? And then, you know, but now you've heard 100 people that can sing that sung that same song. It may sound better than them singing it, right? Now all of a sudden that person ain't no good. You know, and I think overall it just robs people of their sense of appreciation. You know what I mean, for talent. If like I remember growing up, it was I used to see people that knew how to do flips, and I was just amazed. Like, man, this is I mean, it was one of the most awesome things I've ever saw in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I saw a cat do like a they call it a genie flip or whatever. When like it was like a twisting flip, but then he put his hands together with it when he did it.
You saw this in person?
With my own eyes, girl. I'm telling you, with my own eyes. And I lived to tell the tale. You know what I mean? From the shot. I was like 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it just when he told me like, "It's a genie flip," I was like, I never knew such a thing existed. And he bust that joint out. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. It's so funny. I remember like it yesterday. You know, but then and like that sense of like, wow, is a gift. You know what I mean?
Why do you think? Why is that?
Because it takes something so simple, and you can find joy in it. You know what I mean? Like the more you're exposed to, the less that you can find joy. Even when you think about it from this perspective, something I talk to my kids about all the time. Like people that are very wealthy, one of the things that people don't consider about that lifestyle is how empty it can become very quickly, right? Because like when you don't have as much, you work really hard because there's something that you want. There's a goal that you want to attain. I want to get them new Jordans. I want to get this new car. I want to make this investment, or I want to start this business, or there's a goal. And so you have that goal in front of you, and it compels you to work hard. And when you get it, there's such joy. When I was able to get what I was striving for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, like, once you have a certain level of wealth and accomplishment, like, what else is there to accomplish?
You don't have to try so hard to accomplish it.
It's not even about that. Like, and just really follow me here. Like, you think about if you have so much money that you can buy everything you wanted. You know what I mean? When you get something nice, when you went and bought a pretty purse or some new makeup, I know you like that. You know what I mean? Or some nice pretty shirt or whatever. Like the joy you feel like, oh man, I'm so happy that I got it, right? You know what I mean? But if you got every shirt that you wanted, if you got every pair of shoes, you know what I'm saying? If you got all the Fenty makeup, you can sponsor us, Fenty. You can have this one for free, but next time.
Yeah, next time, Riri, hit
us up. but you think about that, like you slowly, but you continuously like lose the ability to have that small joy. How many houses can you buy? How many cars can you drive at one time? But then after a while, once you have so much, like you can no longer find joy in acquiring because you've acquired so much. And then you left thinking like, well, what do I do now? And that's a very devastating and difficult place to be. You know what I mean? People are always striving to be rich. They want to be rich, but they don't understand no matter what life you live, there's going to come with some trouble. It's going to come with problems.
Yep.
It's just different kinds of problems.
Yeah.
And some of the problems that people that are wealthy have, you really don't want them. Because you don't have no idea what it's like. You know what I mean? From a psychological perspective, to have so much, and I done went into the weeds a little bit here. I'm gonna come back. I promise. Come back to the main road. But to have so much, and then you have situations in your life that your money can't fix, that's difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult on your psychology. You know what I mean? Because you're used to being able to fix stuff. You have so much power. Your voice, you can get so many things done. But then somebody gets sick, and you can't do nothing about that. That's very hard to deal with.
Yeah, it is. Because then the challenge becomes accepting it.
Yeah.
And some things, no matter how hard you try, you just can't. It's difficult to accept. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, indeed. You know what I mean? So like I said, I went off in the weeds. I'm getting in my car and driving back to the main road now. but I think it's time for the question of the day. I think we can ask the question of the day. The question is, have you ever felt intimidated or inferior with the amount of talent that you've been exposed to? That's the question. Something that you feel that you were good at, and then you saw somebody else, you saw 100 TikTok videos of people doing it, what you perceived as better than what you can do.
And you felt outshined.
How did you feel? You know what I mean? Let's talk about it in the comment section.
Yeah, let us know. Send us some videos.
I remember somebody sharing with me about a talent that she had. And, had a similar experience. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that happened with me, especially at a young age. Sorry, when I used to be really into like graphic design. I was really into the arts. I loved painting, drawing, but I think that like at that age, you're so vulnerable, and you are so used to like comparing yourself to everybody else. That, I'd see these people and I'm like, oh my God, they're so good. And I would feel like I wasn't as good. And of course, there's, for many reasons, like it's not just the internet that makes you feel that way.
Indeed.
When you have a personality that may not have the strongest self-esteem, right? Or you have some insecurities, not a lot, but some, it's that. Like those are the little seeds that are planted, and then, these things kind of water it. But yeah, I think that I've personally experienced that, where it's like, okay, yeah, I think I'm like, it's good. And you compare yourself, which is I guess it's also the thing that we need to avoid, or maybe learn how to cope with that. Like, there's no need to do that really. And the world that we live in now, like, there is no use in comparing yourself like that. You should only be comparing yourself to yourself. Because when you start looking at, if I'm starting to look at what you got, I'm not going to work on the things that I have. I'm not going to grow it in any type of way. If anything, it's going to paralyze me in thought, and I'm just going to dwell and maybe even feel bad for myself. So in actuality, like, I think that those habits are something that, you know, maybe we should think about or sit with, as uncomfortable as it may be. I think it's important to sit with, because there was a guru that I used to love listening to, and one of the things that he says is, when there's like a negative emotion like that, it's because somewhere else you are lacking, you know, like you're lacking that self-esteem. Maybe someone made you feel that way, or maybe, you know, that voice in your head is so used to saying, yeah, you're just not as good as this person. And it's sometimes, like, when you reach that age, when you're older and you're able to decipher what's good and what's bad for you, make better decisions for yourself, I think that's when you should start trying to feed that voice in positive ways, like appreciate the person that can do the backflip. And what you said is so true, because, you know, we look at videos and we could pull up millions of videos of people doing backflips, but if we walk down the street, like, how many people can we actually find that do a back? You go in the grocery store, you start asking random people,
who here can do a backflip?
Like, something as simple as that, you know, it's true. It's something that I think that we shouldn't take for granted. We also shouldn't, like, compare ourselves, you know, be proud of the little things that you are happy with and you know that you're good at, because you are good at it, regardless of if this other person is better. Like, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, that dirt road that you're driving on, it's just you. It's just you. And the only way that you can grow is by focusing on yourself, focusing on the little project you have in front of you. And that's all. Everything else, you know, that's just noise, but you have to stay focused and you have to keep going forward.
Yeah, that's very insightful. Like, I think that you touched on it, and I think that's one of the, as we kind of start wrapping this thing up, that's one of the things that's really, really important to do, is that number one, I'll say these two things. Number one, that talent is relative, right? A person may be really gifted, and you just talk about flipping. Let's just be talk about flipping all day long. I tried to flip one time. and I learned to have a better appreciation for those who can after I rubbed the dirt out of my house.
Oh. Was this immediately after you saw that guy's flip?
No, I worked with the courage after that. I was like, maybe I could be a genie. You know what I'm saying? But my wish was not granted.
Aw.
It's all right. You know what I'm saying?
You live and you learn.
You live and you learn, man. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it really, talent is relative. You know what I mean? And so people that flip, people can do different, and some people are better at certain flips than others, right? So it may not be an overall thing. It may just be like, okay, they're really good at this. So I go back to my example as far as like singing is concerned. Like you had a song like "Can We Talk" by Tevin Campbell. Tevin, if you're listening, you can, you know, so the first one's free, but the next one. You know what I'm saying? But you know that song, and it's like, it gets into the little parts. Maybe I get a peep. Anyway, so it gets into the part when he started getting to the higher registers. You know what I mean? And like, I have decent range, but it's only a few people that can really like hit those notes. You know what I mean? And I dream of it ever since, and now he started getting up there. You know what I mean? And like, I can't do that full voice. But then you'll hear a person that can do it, and you're like, man, that boy can go. You know what I mean? And then you start to feel like, oh, man. But there are certain aspects of my voice that are better than other people. You know what I'm saying? But if I just look at what I can't, that's what most people do. They look at what they can't do instead of appreciating what they can. You know what I mean? Or they diminish the value of what they can do, and they place more value on what they can't. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, so talent is relative. And I think that you need to make sure that you always take a step back and realize that. You know what I mean? That there are aspects that you may be better, and somebody may be better than you, and it's okay. It's all relative. Number one. Number two, and I think is even more importantly, is that you take the time to appreciate your talent yourself. Instead of it always being about
Other people.
showing your talent to other people and getting other people's praise and approval, that you take the time to really just appreciate, you take the time to appreciate your own talent.
Oof.
If I know how to cook, then I go cook for myself. And I make dishes that
Yeah.
make me be like, you know what I'm saying? Make my toes
curl.
Yeah, really. Make my legs swing. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, listen, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. like they were Ratatouille.
Yeah.
But he ate that Ratatouille at the end.
Yeah.
Took him all the way back, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To his mama's table, right his nose.
That is so true, though.
Yeah, man. But so it's just like, take the time. And that's our tip for today, right? You know what I mean? Like, as you're surfing the web and you out there in social media and you know, and getting lost in the nooks and crannies of the internet, like, take some time to take a step back. And when you consider what you can do, find joy in what you can do for yourself.
Yes.
Such a small joy. Don't overlook it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and don't think about what other people can do. Like, just be like, man, you know what? Like, I really like this. When I sing, like, and people that know me on a personal level, I sing all the time, right? And I sing for me. You know what I'm saying? I sing because it makes me happy. You know what I mean? Like, and it just, when I'm in a bad mood or if I'm just kind of dragging, if I'm sleepy or something like that, then I'll sing and it just, it puts me in a really good place. You know what I mean? And so, and other people may hear me sing, they're like, oh, wow, like, you can really sing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I appreciate that. Thank you. But I'm not singing to get other people's attention.
For them, yeah.
I'm just singing. And if you found some joy in it, great, man. I'm happy about that too. But it's really just for me.
Yeah.
You know? And so everybody is born with talent. Somebody can draw. Some people can, and we can go down the list. You know, but just take some time to take your talent and find joy in it for you and you only.
That is so true. And I think that's also when you're at your best.
Man.
You know, because it's the meaning has changed.
Yeah,
it's not for validation. It's just for pure enjoyment. It's for just because you like it, just because this is when your raw self, your genuine self. So I think that's a beautiful way of putting it, and I couldn't agree more. That's so true. So I think getting in touch with that creative side, getting in touch with what you love, that can only make your life better. You know.
I agree, Clara. I agree. Like that baby, you know what I'm saying? He did that flip. Oh, well, tumble. He was proud of that,
yeah,
man.
and that felt great. That felt wonderful.
He may do it 50 more times. You know what I'm saying? Just because he's excited about the tumble that he did.
Yeah.
And like we talk about preserving the simplicity of our humanity, that aspect of us, don't lose that.
Yeah.
Hold on to that. You know what I mean? Like, man, just... You find something that really makes you happy.
Be proud of it.
Be proud of it, like, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if somebody else can find joy in it, great. You know what I'm saying? That's wonderful too. But
it's about you.
There you go, man. Enjoy that thing. So we're gonna put a puppy on, but put a bow on this puppy and wrap him up. You know what I mean? We want to reiterate our question of the day. You know what I'm saying? Encourage people to join the conversation. Have you ever felt inferior or intimidated by the amount of talent that you're exposed to via the internet and or social media, I guess? Let's talk about it, man. Like, you know, leave a comment in the comment section. I'm sure there'll be many others that would agree, and we can share some information and just
have a conversation, you know?
Yeah. Reinforce some positive perspective and mentality. So, because you're not alone out here in the streets, you know what I'm saying? We all out here trying to figure it all out together. So, that's an episode that's a show for today. Want to just say thank you for tuning in. I also encourage you to hit the like button, subscribe, follow, share, all that jazz. I'm Wilfred Hamilton. This is
Clara Aguirre.
Straight up. And nothing else. Stay safe, stay blessed, and above all else, stay human.